Welcome to the Den of Tools.
Howdy ho, guys and gals, it's Red, your friendly neighborhood tool bear, back again here in the old Den of Tools, and coming at you with something a little bit different today. We're going to be talking about what it's like to sell your vehicle at Carmax. Now, I just sold my truck there, my Ram 2016 quad cab, and the reason we sold it was not that we didn't like it. In fact, it's a fabulous truck, and I was sorry to see it go, but I wasn't sorry to see those payments go. We're trying to downsize a little bit. We're a little concerned about 2021. I know everyone's like, how bad could 2021 be after 2020, right? Well, we're concerned that it's going to look at 2020 and be like, hold my beer. So just to be on the top side of being prudent and also trying to be better with the family fiscal budget and whatnot. Both the wife and I are talking about getting rid of our vehicles and getting older used vehicles that are well maintained, in good shape, and so not having those payments and such. So that's why we decided to jump into this. So I was in a bit of a quandary here. So here's the issue. This is my truck here. It's a great truck. It's been all over hell's bells everywhere. And we've towed and traveled and crossed most of the western U.S. in it. But we bought it in 2017. It was a year old when we bought it. And it currently has just around 97,000 miles on it. And the problem with it is we're up here in Montana, and it's two-wheel drive. A two-wheel drive truck in Montana is not very desirable. Now, I could have possibly waited until late spring to try and sell it around here, but that would have been 6 months of car payments at that time. Well, a buddy of mine was driving down to, or was planning to go on a trip down to Salt Lake City to pick up a Toyota Sequoia that he was going to buy, and he buys cars and flips them and does all sorts of stuff with them. And he hates flying down there, and he hates flying in general. And you know what? I said, how about this? There's a Carmax down there. How about if I drive down with you and see if they'll buy my truck, and then we can drive the other truck back. And we, and a wing and a prayer, no real plans. We got up bright and early the next day, and we hit the road, and that's exactly what we did. Now, real quick, before I left, I went on Kelley Blue Book, and I looked up what they said the trade-in value of my vehicle was. And it looks like it's between $15,300 and $18,400 with a trade-in value right at $16,898. Now, we owed about $12,500 on it, and I thought if I could get that, I would think that was fantastic. But I'll be honest, as many miles as I put on it, I was concerned that when we got there and they did the vehicle inspection, they would find something with the engine that I missed or something, and we'd be lucky to be able to sell it. So, it's always that, always expect the worst, hope for the best. That's kind of the plan we work with. So we drove down to Salt Lake City and we pulled into the Carmax here. Now, I would say if you're going to do this, get an appointment early in the day. I was stunned. By the time we left, I was stunned to see how many people were waiting in line to sell their vehicles. I think it might just be the season or something, people trying to get rid of their vehicles, people worried about COVID and whatnot. The place was packed by the time we left. And real quick, I'm not sure how I forgot and left this part out, but we still needed to get the car washed before we got to Carmax. It had some road grime on it. We detailed it before we left, but some dirt, 400 miles is going to put some dirt on the vehicle. We wanted to look at the best that it could. And so I saw that there was a car wash. And when I was looking on the GPS on the maps, there was a car wash right across the street. So I'm like, great, that'll be perfect. We get there, it's a Sam's Club, and you have to be a member. Well, I pull up, there's a little gas station thing next to it accompanying it, and there's a guy there working it. And so I pull up and I ask the guy, I'm like, hey, do you have to be a member? He's like, yeah, you kind of do. He looks at me, he looks at the car. I'm like, I can't just pay cash. He's like, he looks at me, he looks at the car. He kind of shakes his head. He goes, tell you what, normally yes, but I'll take care of you. Go on and meet me over there. He was an older guy, just real nice, real pleasant fellow. And I drive over there, and he punches in some numbers. He goes, there you go, you're all set. I try to pay him. He's like, nope, it's on me. And I'm like, can I give you a tip? He's like, nope, it's my good deed of the day. Oh my gosh, talk about lucking out, God looking out for you. Now, as we refer to him after that, the patron saint of car washes over there. What a great fellow. Anyway, so we'll jump back to over to Carmax. So anyway, we get there at 10:30 on a weekday, pull up, walk in, talk to the guy. He says a guy will be out in a second to inspect the vehicle. Young man walks out, asks me to start the vehicle, asks me to open the hood, walks around, and I don't mean to disparage these guys, but I want to give you an accurate depiction of what it's like to sell your car at Carmax. I was stunned how brief the quote unquote inspection was. He walked around the vehicle, he checked the edges, he looked at the engine bay for all of 30 seconds, never test drove it, never did anything else. And he sounded like he knew what he was talking about, but he's like, okay, we're interested. I'm going to go in, talk to the manager, and I'll be out with a quote shortly. Well, needless to say that I was, kind of worried about what this quote number is going to be, coming in at. I just driven, over 400 miles down here. We're trying to pull off this kind of magic hat trick here. Make the trip all the way down to Salt Lake City, no plans whatsoever, buy a truck, sell a truck, and then make the trip back over the Rockies at night. There was a snowstorm blowing through. So, when he came back with this number here, here's the offer. And I know you're like, Bear, get out of the way. What's the offer? Anybody, just make a guess. Make a guess what the offer is. I'll show you in here in a second. Boom. There you go. $17,000 even. I got to say, it would have been nice to get more. It's always nice to get more. But considering that I just wanted to get rid of this vehicle and get rid of the payments, this was going to put money in my pocket, and the payments were going to stop immediately. Now, before I know, some of you want to jump in here and say, oh, you should have waited and you should have sold it privately and everything else. Well, here's private party on this, okay? And remember, it's going to take longer to sell something like this private party because you got to be working with somebody who can figure out loans for themselves, get a loan from the bank, that kind of thing. Or they're sitting on $20,000 cash, ready to pay it down on a two-wheel drive truck in Montana. Again, it would. Could I do it? Yes. Would it take time? Yes. So look at 6 months. 6 months would get me, I'd get me to the point where I could probably sell it privately. Well, 6 months with car payments and insurance and everything, I'm looking at $3,000. Well, $3,000 on top of my offer, that puts me right at the private party. So that's 6 in one, half a dozen in the other, and this is a bird in the hand worth, versus 2 in the bush. Same amount of money at the end of the day. So that's why we went with the offer at CarMax. All right, and the guy says, if you want to take us up on this offer, just pull it around to the service center, pull it in, go and talk to somebody there at the desk, and they'll do the mechanical inspection and take it from there. So I pull around. I got to be honest, I'm nervous at this point because I'm expecting they're going to go over it with a fine-tooth comb, and the mechanic's going to look at it, and he's going to find something wrong because, of course, I'm always waiting for the other shoe to drop. And I get there, and it looks like I'm at the Hertz desk for car rental kind of thing. There's not a person there. It looks like they got a smudge on any of their hands. Honestly, and I mean, maybe they're secret mechanical ninjas. I don't know, but they didn't look like they could change a tire. But you know what? They took the car for a test drive. They took a look at it, and they said it passed. They sent me on over to the business center to talk to them. Now, this is the walk down to the service center. I got to say, when I saw the plastic sheeting, I've watched Dexter. I was a little worried maybe this is where they took you if you didn't agree to their terms. But anyway, there's the service center. It looks a little bit like the DMV, and trust me, you're going to wait about as long. So you come up to this desk, and you bring all your important information. You bring the quote that they give you. You bring your keys, and you bring any title or other information that you need that's applicable. And then you wait. And honestly, it took longer for me than it should have. There was some confusion because I was bringing my vehicle in from Montana, and they didn't quite understand the way the whole title system worked. They thought I should have the title, which typically in most cases, being in Montana, you would, but my lender required that you send the title to them. So the lender had the title, and they had to get a hold of them. But anyway, we got it all cleared up. And then once you get all that and they get you approved, they send you to this room, this dark, scary little signing room. Now, this is where you go to sign your life away. And when you walk in there, they're going to send you to a booth like this, one of these cubicles. There's like 50 of them in a row. And you're going to sign. Okay, maybe that's an exaggeration. You're going to sit down, and they're going to walk you through all of the paperwork. And it's funny because you see that pen in the lower right? Every time you sign something there, they give you a new pen because they have this whole cleanliness, sterilization thing. I must have walked out of there with like 6 pens. I've got plenty of pens for my new vehicle. But anyway, You sign all that, you go through, and then you get your check. They will give you a bank draft right there and then. Now, this is not something you can just walk over across the street to the bank and cash it. You need to deposit this. It needs to get processed and everything else. Now, I asked them if they would give me cash. They looked at me like I was an alien. But that said, there's my check, $4,417.55. That's the difference from what they offered versus what I still owed on the vehicle. At this point, I was honestly stunned. I'm sitting there, check in hand. I'm done, ready to walk out. And I'm thinking, just this morning, actually it was the night before, we'd taken a buck out at some friend's property and processed it, pulled up the truck and processed it that morning. And this was our ride back, a early 2000s Toyota Sequoia. It had high mileage, but it was in great shape, really good shape. And we put it through quite a test drive on the way back, over 400 miles all the way back to Montana, driving through West Yellowstone, around the edge of, Yellowstone National Park or whatever. And, you're at elevation. There was driving sleet and snow. It was at night, windy roads in the mountains, looking out for elk and bison and whatnot. And it just drove fantastic. Four-wheel drive worked. I can't say enough about these vehicles. They're fantastic. But as far as me, what's my vehicle going forward? Well, last week we bought this. This is a 99 Chevy Suburban LT. Other than the clear coat on it, the rest of it is in fabulous shape. It's been well taken care of. It runs like a top. The interior is immaculate, looks almost new. And we paid $2,500 for it. So that's what we went from. We went from a truck where we're paying, monthly to $2,500 here. If you take that out of how much we walked away from the truck, $2,500 minus $4,400, we're looking at $1,900 still in our pockets, no payments. And I've got a nice big truck, not a pickup truck, but up here in Montana in the winter, it's kind of nice to have that enclosed storage space. Still, great. We can fit the entire family in it. I know, because we've tested it, got all the Cubs, loaded up, went for some drives. We're really enjoying it, so we're really happy about it. There's nothing to complain about, that's for sure. Am I sorry that we got rid of the truck? Yeah, I'm going to miss this truck. It was a fantastic truck to drive. Drove great, always reliable. That 5.7 Hemi was like driving a muscle car and a pickup truck at the same time. But honestly, it was getting a little too small for us. The oldest cub, he's taller than mom these days, and he's getting up there. And there's just not room in the back seat for long road trips for the three cubs and the Labrador and the missus and myself. And the Suburban's going to be a lot better solution. Now, the next hat trick we need to try and do is do the same thing with the missus Jeep. Get rid of that, get rid of another payment. Anyway, that was our experience with dealing with Carmax. I got to tell you, it was fantastic. I'm out of a car payment. We're saving money, and going into 2021, I think that's going to be a real priority for lots of people. Anyway, before I let you go, just a reminder that merchandise is taking longer to ship this time of year. So if you're interested in picking some stuff up, gifts for mom or dad or the tool bear in your family, we got all that stuff. Links are, of course, down below. Now, we only have, I think, a couple dozen, maybe. I don't know. The missus is handling it more. But the Home to Stores workbook, we got the ebooks, but we have, as I was saying, limited signed editions here that you can order directly from us. And we'll put whatever greeting within reason you want on it. So if you're looking for that special gift for, someone who's hard to buy for, we got you covered as far as that goes. Anyway, there you go. There's your Carmax buying or selling experience, I should say. If you're thinking about getting rid of your vehicle, is this something you would consider doing? Let me know down below. Anyway, that's all the Bear has for you today. You all take care. God bless. And as always, shine on.